about Skype's been years.
All right, I'm recording also.
Cool. I'm going to have to not record so this stuff runs smoothly over here.
Sounds like a plan.
So you guys just want to see it, or?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go whenever you are.
All right. So I'll just show you what looks the most difficult, I suppose, because it's a particle system. It's the latest one that I did. I'm sure you guys have already seen it.
Yes, so we have.
This little thing. So all those little things floating around are particles. But I have to write more code, I suppose, to make this. I'll just show you, pardon, to make it, quicker, because it's pretty, it's a pretty manual process at the moment because it's brand new. This one. So over here, because it's got to do with, you have to convert everything to an actual 3D object and bake the keyframe so that it works. So now over here in this scene, everything is a actual 3D object that you can edit. But,
nice.
But honestly, here's the thing that makes it work. And it's almost, when I show it to you in HitFilm, it'll be pretty clear, I suppose. But this plane right here at the bottom of everything at the center of the world, that's what we use to control the scale of the Blender 3D world and transfer everything over to HitFilm.
Oh, okay.
The very center of it. So the particle system, I had to export it separately because it's a lot of keyframes and it's very heavy. So it's an Alembic file. So I had it three different exports: the camera, the 3D objects, and then the particle system. So 3 different whatever. But the camera is easy. It was just after you install the add-ons, just type in comp and export it. But it depends on your scene. But for every export, whenever you're going to do the export, select the plane first. It just has to be bigger than the rest of your animation, whatever it is. So it could be any size as long as it's bigger. That way, when you scale in HitFilm, because that part is manual, it'll make more sense and it'll be really easy. But pretty much you just grab all your mesh objects, you export the OBJ, and let's just go ahead and go over there really quick. Oh, sorry. It's a big file. It's a really big file. So this is what we ended up with at the end. Oh, well, I didn't show you the render passes because we don't just export the 3D scene. You can render out passes from Blender or Filmer and comp them over the same 3D scene over here in HitFilm. But I'll show you the import stuff and how easy it is to just line everything up and scale it. But this is kind of what we ended up with at the end.
Yeah.
But here's all, it's not complicated. It's not a whole bunch of stuff. And here's where everything is in 3D. And this is not going to work in real time because it's really heavy.
Sure.
Sorry, it's a little clunky right now, but I could speed it up. And here in a few minutes, I'll show you I'll just, start a fresh scene and import it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That way you can just kind of see how it works.
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's really easy, but that was really the trick, was getting the origin point of the world. So that's really what makes it easy, and it makes everything work. Where is it? There it is. So here's the particle system, and here's that plane.
Uh-huh.
So I exported with anything that's really, really complicated. I can export that plane to help me line things up, which makes it really easy. So it's in that 3D model. That was the particle simulation. And here's the actual 3D object, and there is that plane. Same plane.
Mm.
And that controls the scale. Makes it really easy. And now these 2D passes can fit on top of the 3D objects over here. It's like camera projection without camera projection, I guess.
Right.
I'm not that good enough of a VFX guy to know all the terms to compare this to something. So like this is a 2D render pass, but it's got motion blur. I forgot to tell you that. Not motion blur, depth of field. So I figured that part out too, the depth of field. So we can get that to match up in HitFilm as well.
That's fantastic.
But all that is, it's pretty heavy over here.
That's great.
I think I turned something off. Yeah, I must have moved something. Oh no, I just turned the camera off, that's all. Then just let it catch up, yeah. And everything matches up. The motion blur from HitFilm matches up with the motion blur. The depth of field from HitFilm matches up with the depth of field in these render passes from Filmer. So that's really cool. So you can relight it, change the materials. A nice ugly green. Give it a moment to catch up, and you can do anything.
Right.
Yeah. So you want to just see the import process?
Yes.
All right. So let me just do a new project. Whoops. Sorry. So we'll import the camera. And I'm forgetting some things I can't, in Filmer, we added an extra frame. If you can see it there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's frame 0. It avoids a couple of problems, but it's there just so you guys know. Then the render passes. And normally I use this thing as just a self-reflection pass to line everything up. But I already know it's going to work. Next render pass. Except this one I have to move it back as well.
Right.
I got to slide it one frame back. Because I also rendered out an extra frame. Also for the Alembic animations. 3D model. There's the ABC. There it is. There's the 3D object. So you see there's the black plane.
Right.
Everything's labeled. And normally I just turn it off or, turn it invisible. And here's what, sorry, let me reset this. Here's what makes it work. Turn that off. Turn that off. You can use any size you want, but I just normally leave it at meters, update it, and now the world is where it should be, the way we had it in Filmer.
Mm.
Now everything's going to line up no matter what. So it's like I kind of idiot-proofed it for myself. So once I drop it in here, let me see. Go to front view. From here, I just have to scale it. And because it's an alembic animation, I could do it up here. But I'm just going to do it from down here because I'm going to import another model, the particle system, with the alembic animation.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember right, I think this was the scale. I think. I don't have a preset system for the scale just yet. Sometimes you have to figure that one out on your own for now. Well, make it easy. Whoops. No. Opacity. I set that to difference. Give this guy the 3D object. Where is it? A wireframe effect. And everything should just line up.
Right. Do you have to push that one back one frame also?
When I add the alembic animation, yeah, I'm gonna have to go boom.
Got it. Okay.
Move it back. And when I get to the end, whoops, sorry. You can just extend the model. This little red thing over here.
Yeah.
You can just extend it because the animation goes longer.
Right.
And it'll always just fit. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Like if I don't babble so much, it's like boom, boom, boom. Every
Right.
time.
Right.
And after this, that was the hard part. Now you can just composite, and, have fun. But that's it.
Huh.
That's it.
Yeah, what you should do is, write out a whole script of how to do this so that you don't leave anything out. And
Right?
and then just, record yourself going right through it step by step, and make it super simple for anybody who needs it.
That sounds good.
It isn't that hard to do. So, it wouldn't be that long of a video, I don't think. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah. Frank, you really know what you're doing more than I,
Yeah, I agree. You know a lot more about this than I do also.
right. Yeah,
So you make it look easy, but it's probably not nearly as easy as you make it look.
But it is though, dude. Because now you know what I know, and you know that it's easy. Now you know that it's easy. It can be done very easily. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And when you composite like this, like you guys have seen how nodes are really kind of complicated, but they are powerful.
Right.
If you think this composite shot, think of it like a container. It becomes like a node, except you have access to the actual 3D object and the materials in this 3D space.
Right.
But for each, it's like super powerful. It's like having Nuke.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. which is amazing.
So the image sequences, basically, just seeing here, you exported the hip film, you exported the camera data.
Yeah.
You exported 2 render passes, image sequence. Then you had the base model in, and you laid the image sequence over the base model as a texture. Is it right?
Pretty much. It could, you can explain it any way you want, because it's like just really, I mean, it's on top as a layer, as a 2D layer on top of this 3D object. So, I mean, you can use just blend modes. You can use it as a mask. It could be used to retexture it. You can do anything with it.
Right.
Any way you want to explain it, people should make sense out of it. It's like kind of like camera projection, but not really.
It's too bad that we can't do a multi-pass EXR and then extract each pass from an EXR like After Effects does. But yeah, I understand the concept totally. I just a little confused as to texturing the model and using the render passes at the same time. So I noticed you don't have any. You don't have no lights.
Oh, I haven't added any.
So the lighting that's coming from what you have now is from blenders.
Yeah.
You bake the lighting into the render pass, right?
Yeah, like in the other comp, the first one that I opened up for you, there was a light in there. I haven't added one in here yet.
But this looks like it's already lit even without a light.
Right.
Oh yeah. That's the thing with braid. That's the thing about path tracing. Let me see, where's that light?
So now with the hip film tools, I can extract the light position as well, right?
Yeah, you can do anything you want.
So that the light in Blender should match the light position should match the hit film light position.
Yeah, because with the camera exporter, you can export empties. That's what these are. These are from Filmer. These 2 points right here.
Right. Right. So you just make an empty and attach it to light, and then put the light where you want it, and then export the empty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like stuff like this, it's kind of like a reflection pass. This one I wouldn't really use. I don't need it. And it's really just a test. So you could always just set it to normal. And what I do is I end up saving. Whoops, let me turn that back on. I delete the stuff that I don't need, like the image sequences, and I save this out onto my hard drive and bring it back in and like a template. So it's like an instance. And to that mesh, when it comes in, it brings a whole new copy of the 3D object, and I can create different masks with that. That's how you retexture. Does that make a little sense? You know how I could save this composite shot out onto my hard drive?
Mm-hmm.
So if I save this out, I can bring it back in over and over. And each time that I bring it brings in a copy of the 3D model, and you have control over that 3D model, so you can retexture it.
Right, because
overlay that over
because of the way hip film handles a model.
Yeah, so this kind of becomes like multi-layered OpenEXR, but a little bit different. You can treat it like nodes, compositing nodes, or OpenEXRs, multi-layered. Except you have everything that HitFilm can do over here,
Right.
in these little containers.
Right, without notes. What is the model? Just to clear me up, I'm going to try this, but without your render passes, and we're looking right now at your orbit model.
Yeah.
Just turn off your passes and let me see what the orbit model looks like with the light. so I can understand the.
Yeah, let me give it some shadows.
Right. So it's just. So also, I could go into the model itself and change the properties of each uh, material.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't even need those render passes out of Blender, right?
Not unless you needed the model to reflect itself. That's what gives it all the realism.
Right.
And that's the only reason that I do it. Plus,
Reflecting itself or the environment around itself.
itself.
It's
Itself is good. Itself is good enough,
right.
but you can do both, whichever one works for you. Because you could always just get one render without any passes. Just get a beauty pass
Yeah.
and bring that in, and then just tweak everything over here.
Right.
Change the colors and all that good stuff.
So you could do it either way with the render passes or
Yeah.
the model.
Yeah.
You don't need the model if you got the render passes, because then you're just treating it like a compositor, render out your AO or whatever. And then you could build your own mats in HitFilm instead of, doing them with nodes in Blender.
Yeah, like how
CG does,
Yeah, I saw that video.
Building a mat for occlusion in HitFilm is a piece okay curves and background.
Yes, yeah, it's so easy in HitFilm, dude.
Right.
So easy.
Right.
So I love the software. I love the software.
Right. I know. I'll have to get the texture things down. The wire framing and matching up when you first started out, when you were using one of your jets, one of your supersonic 100 angle jets, confused me, but you knew what you were doing. So
back then,
I just need to figure it out,
Back then, that was manual. That was pretty manual. But now with the plane that scales the world, with that, it makes it way easier. It's like a snap of the fingers.
Right.
It simplifies it a lot.
Does when the plane's in opacity, I assume it doesn't throw a shadow, right?
Correct. But because that plane is always there, you can always use it, as a black and white type mask, as a distance mask.
Right.
If that makes any sense, like a depth mask, or to help depth, or if you need to hide something behind something else, it's always helpful to at least have it there. So.
Okay.
Wow, it's amazing. It's fantastic.
All right. Oh wait, do you guys want to, as a last thing, do you want to see the little particle sim go in?
Sure.
All right, let me just import it real quick. And wait, first I'll do the same thing so I don't forget, because this got to do this or it won't work. Then just turn that plane off or whatever. Bring in the animation. Sorry. There it is. Drop that in. I already slid it back, yeah. Then same difference from down here, I can just scale it. Whoops. And I'm not sure if it'll play real time because it's like I said, it's the Alembic animation was a couple of gigs. Oh, look at that! It's not doing bad.
No.
Wow, cool. Yeah, that's it. So it makes it really easy. I mean, I once I figured it out, it just changed everything. It made everything like very easy, compositing wise, because you can create any kind of mask.
Right. So what is your I mean, what are you planning on, where are you planning on going from here with it? What's your idea of, how you're going to get this thing out to people?
Um, well, a couple of the guys on the forums have mentioned, I think Gumroad. No, I forget. Like some kind of crowdfunding thing.
Right. Okay.
I forget what it's called. But kind of like that because I don't really know anyone hardly online,
Right.
and so obviously no one's gonna know me. So I got to do obviously a lot of work on that and reaching out to people. And obviously just keep doing more cool stuff.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
My thinking is that you put together basically like a master class on it. With a series of tutorials. This is how you install Filmer. This is how you set it up. This is how you do this and that to build your models in Filmer. This is how you bring it over, and these are the settings that you do when you get into HitFilm and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? And you'd be better at designing that. But you know what I mean? It would have to be a from beginning to end master class that any fool who has basic knowledge of HitFilm and basic knowledge of Blender could go in and figure out after watching your videos.
That sounds good.
Frank, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood. Yeah. No, I noticed that the After Effects script is now working in Blender 2.8.
Cool.
And there's a lot of similarities only to a point. The After Effects script will export the passes, right? So you can composite in AE without all the nodes, right? But its limit is it won't export the object. Okay, so I see just a whole slew of compositing, simple compositing stuff, export cameras, compositing tutorials. I go on and read the comments from those scripts and, 3D shapes from Blender to HitFilm. All 5-minute, I'm telling you, 5-10 minute chunks of stuff you'll get a lot of people sharing your stuff that they can understand,
Yeah.
And who cares if you don't know any money? I know plenty of people who've gone from zero to hero. It just takes a loyal following like me.
You guys are awesome.
I'm
man.
a patron of CG Geek. I give him $5 a month.
Right.
And, I can text message him directly with Filmer and have him, if he's got some time, give it a test drive, see what he thinks. He's always doing reviews. I know he's upped his class a little bit. He's got a sponsor and stuff now, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That sounds. I'm sorry. I'm just listening to you guys. It's really cool. I like listening to you guys.
Right. Now, if I could figure out how to export my textures, right, and overlay them on a model that's in, just like you're doing here, right? Because I get some terrible textured models. I'd like to try my own hand at some, steel shields and stuff like that on the sides of ships. Hit film the lighting in hit film it throws rounded shadows, if you know what I mean, on the edges of all the models. Mm-hmm. Seems to fade off to black, like it's being shot with a tight light bulb with a black ring around it. And Blender really gets more environmentally light around the edge of the model,
Yeah.
So that's the problem I have with hit film. It just turns, the lighting doesn't look right to me, But the way you baked, you basically baked the lighting into the pass, and then you're using hit film's lighting to accentuate that baked lighting,
Yeah.
So that it looks way better that way. It's not, it's using it as an accentuating light instead of. I'm curious what it looks like when you try and light it within a material, like a HDR from the material slot in the model. What kind of reaction do you get there?
It's
really not.
It's really pretty.
Blender's 360 lighting, but it's environment lighting.
It's really pretty. It's actually really pretty. It comes out really nice when you mix the hit film reflections with the reflections that came out that we got out of Filmer.
Right.
Because I had this other composite somewhere where I had a 3D particle system. Let me see. Sorry. The particle system from Filmer, this exact same scene, but I also built a particle system in here in HitFilm and put them together.
Mm-hmm.
So the HitFilm particle system was casting reflections on the 3D object, and I just threw that comp, like say in here, hypothetically.
Right.
So now the HitFilm reflections of the 3D particle system are reflecting onto the 2D passes. That type of deal. You can mix everything together.
Right.
Shadows.
Well, this particular one here, looks like you're not even using passes here, right? You're using the natural shader of hit film in the model properties.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. How the what the?
It's not. It's only a few things though. That's the thing. A couple of lights, the 3D object. Let me see. And I didn't really need these passes here, but I just threw them in just because.
Well, that's
I mean, that's what the 3D scene looks like from HitFilm.
And then these passes are okay. So there you do have the passes, so they're accentuating each pass. Okay.
There's the environment map.
Yeah, nuke minus the money.
Right.
That's perfect.
That's multiple. Perfect. I mean, that's just nuke minus the money. I mean, you're a pro, man. F call, F sync. What the? You ought to see my naming. I'm just gonna be quiet now.
Yeah, you're way out in front of me. That's for sure.
Frick, yeah. Left lane, Florida on a Ninja.
That's right.
Dude, but don't sell yourself short, because that's the thing. This will up your game like by 1 billion. All of a sudden, you can do it too. You were just missing a little bit. That's all. I'm telling you, everyone can do it.
Yeah, the key will be to convince everyone that they can do it. That's the hard part, I think.
Yeah, I gotta focus.
Most people get stuck in Blender at modeling, but you
Yeah.
don't need to know how to model to use Blender. But
Correct.
I'm a big
Yes.
fan of other people's models.
Yeah.
OPM. They spent plenty of time. Why should I reinvent the wheel and make my own? You
Right.
know.
Right. If you,
So
yeah, if you can use other people's stuff and then apply it to what you're doing here,
Yeah.
people would eat that up. I mean, they would love that.
Yeah. I did that with the Optimus Prime thing. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just went away in shame.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck did you do that? Whatever, dude. I'll get there some year, man.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I mean, what you got going on the screen right here? I mean, Hit Film has seemed to really peel off into motion graphics crowd. Everybody's always liked fancy titles and title cards and stuff. So I can see a whole genre of people interested in making killer logos like this in Express with Blender.
Yeah. This project, this one on the screen, it started over in Express.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, because you can do the same thing over there. I didn't even know that until I downloaded it and started playing around. I'm like, whoa,
Does it retain the model's geometry?
Yeah.
Oh man, that is unbelievable that Hit Film does that. I mean, buy the model once, and all you got to do is just don't share the textures. Give them a blank model. It's built right into the composite shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. All right. Well, I think I got kind of an idea. What are your render times? Have you really tried to load something up hard? I got some scenes that take 5 minutes with 2.81. Must be a bounce problem or something,
You mean Blender?
Yeah. There's some pretty intense scenes that of some that take, the render times are really high comparatively. I mean, if I drop back to 279, it'd probably be 25 minutes a frame, but really high, meaning 5 minutes in Filmer, which I never ran across before. So I wonder if it's, bounce lighting and, I use really heavy HDRs and stuff like that too. So, huge ones. So
Yeah.
that might be it too.
Yeah. There's a whole series there on how to get less fireflies and stuff.
Right.
And really a lot of less noise. I mean, because glass is super heavy no matter what. But I was getting 13 seconds-ish for this pass.
Right. I did the same kind of pass with water, and I was getting around the same 9 seconds, something like that.
Yeah. But,
all right, cool. You got me thoroughly confused, so go back to the step one, how to install.
Yeah. Well, and that's pretty much it. It's got to be like step one. Where do I go to download Blender? That kind of a thing. And then it just, one step at a time, like a complete masterclass. If you do that, then people will not get frustrated in the middle of it and say, yeah, forget it. I'm not gonna do it anymore. That kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I got
push button, man. Everybody wants push button. Where's the one button free get out of jail card? Well, dude, same game, So.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, by the way, I did try the export FBX built into 2.81.
Yeah.
And it only exports one face of the model, one side. The rest of it's black. So I must, your hit film, your individual hit film exports, I got through them by hitting the space bar search and just type hit film. And you had the OBJ and FBX. Man, those worked smoking. I love those things. I love those things,
Yeah.
The OBJ in 2.81 works, but the FPX, there's some kind of problem with it. So, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, everybody's
rewrite.
going to be after just to let you know. I mean, there's going to be, I'm an old guy. I'm old. We're old. Jay's old, right?
Yep, I'm old. You bet.
I'm 46.
But the crowd of hit film is in there. I mean, look at the forums, man. Look at the crowd of users.
Yeah.
They're 18 to 30. And they want it now. JG Wentworth shit. I want my. They ain't got the patience of an old guy. Old guy needs to take a nap, come back and remember how he did it. All right, cool.
That's what happens. That's how I do it.
Hell yeah, that's called an epiphany. So, that's why I just mentioned that standalone tool you had worked perfect. The exporters.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do happen to get 500 people flood you in the next month, you got to be prepared for 1 million stupider questions than what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, without any doubt, that's the truth.
So if I'm going to try not to mention FBX, that way if it's mentioned later, still in development.
There you go.
Right? Still in development. So. All right. Well, like I say, I'm gonna just have to back up. I did figure out how to get everything installed. Piece of cake. There's maybe I'll watch your little video you put up, just so I covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the image preset plugin was. It's UV image preset.
Yeah. You're wondering what it was?
Yeah, I was wondering what it was.
Oh, I'll show you. It is. It just creates a preset image for you.
All right, cool. You know how long it would have took me to find that? Forever.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I think as high as it goes is 32.
UV map, right?
What's that?
That's the UV map, right? UV map size. Image size. All right, cool. All right, Frank.
Yeah, it looks cool. Well, keep us posted on where you're going, what you're doing with it, and we'll help you the best we can to keep get it going and moving forward.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for sure.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go
fellas.
for a while and check you later, man.
Okay, bye.
All right, see ya.